Hi guys, it's Samir from MMOs.com doing a quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending January 14th, 2019. This is number 182 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week comes from Activision and Bungie regarding the Destiny franchise. It looks like Bungie, the game's developer, is having a divorce with Activision, ending their 10-year publishing contract with Activision a bit early. While all the details aren't public, Bungie is getting custody of Destiny and will be responsible for everything regarding the game going forward, which many Destiny fans see as a huge positive as they've long viewed Activision as holding the game back. The PC version of the game will remain on the Battle.net launcher though, and Bungie has promised to make the whole transition as seamless as possible. This is yet another big blow to Activision Blizzard, so much so that the fact that the company's stock price fell nearly 10% on the day of the announcement was made public, wiping off over $4 billion from the company's value. It's been all downhill for the company since BlizzCon, it seems. It's also worth mentioning that Bungie received a $100 million investment from China's second biggest game developer, NetEase, last year, so perhaps they're going to be partnering with NetEase going forward. Next up, and what caught me completely by surprise, Rose Online, the fantasy MMORPG from Warp Portal, will be shutting down on February 11th, 2019. Rose, which actually stands for Rush on 7 episodes, was actually one of the first Asian MMORPGs I've ever played, and it's been running continuously since 2005, making it one of the oldest Korean MMORPGs that made it to the West. It's sad to see this one go, especially since Rose never actually released all 7 episodes, so it looks like they were never quite in a rush to get all those 7 episodes out. Now, jokes aside, it is sad to see this one go. Fortunately though, Rose is one of those MMORPGs that's long had a big following on private servers, so despite the official server shutting down, it'll live on forever on private servers. Rest in pepperoni though, Rose Online official. Up next, while one free-to-play Korean game shuts down, another relaunches. Alliance of Valiant Arms relaunching as AvA Dog Tag with its second closed beta test launching on January 18th and set to run until the end of the month. We do have keys on MMOs.com/giveaways if anyone is interested. Red Duck is both the game's developer and new publisher and is also looking to establish an esports scene with a partnership with the ESL. But we all know that you can't just start an esports scene. It has to begin organically and only happen if the game is popular. This new relaunch version promises new maps, HUD changes, new features, and more. Unfortunately though, I can't imagine AvA Dog Tag doing well because it's an older game that's perpetually shut down. It was first available through EG forever ago and shut down there. Area Games picked it up and is shut down over there. Then InMass picked it up and is shut down over there as well. So now the developer is running it themselves. I wish them luck, but with Counter-Strike Go being free to play now, it's going to be really hard for these Korean free to play shooters to succeed in the West. Next up, in some spicy industry news, Ubisoft's upcoming MMO-esque shooter, The Division 2, won't be launching on Steam, despite the game already having those landing pages set up on the platform, which are actually offline now. The game will be instead distributed exclusively through both Uplay and the new Epic Games Store. This is a major blow to Steam as we're slowly seeing more and more games moving over to the Epic Games Store, which offers developers a much better revenue split, with the platform taking just 12% versus Steam taking anywhere between 20 and 30%. Steam has been the dominant PC game platform of choice forever, it seems, but it looks like that grip is now loosening, and while we players all hate having multiple launchers on our desktops, developers earning more from their game seems like it might be worth it. Time will tell though if other major game studios keep leaving Steam, and I suspect if that happens, they'll end up matching Epic Games fees, but we'll see what happens going forward. Next, BioWare released a 15-minute gameplay video for their upcoming shared world sci-fi shooter RPG Anthem, featuring several classes in the game. Now, if you're itching to try Anthem yourself, though, you'll have to wait until February when the demo comes out. The video also released an exclusive trailer back in CES showing off the game, but that trailer was only about a minute and a half long. Anthem is in development for some time now, and it is a BioWare title, so I'm somewhat optimistic about it, but we'll know a lot more when the demo drops in February. And if you didn't know this already, it'll be a full-price $60 game, and it will most definitely have microtransactions, but it looks really pretty, and we'll see how it does. Next up, in more traditional and more MMORPG news, Old School RuneScape launched the Kibos Lowlands this last week, which is a new region in the game, which introduces the new town of Brimstone, as well as a new monster, the multi-headed Hydra, along with the Slayer dungeon, a farming guild, two new novice quests, new rewards, and more. This is actually the first major update to the game since it went multi-platform in late 2018. The Kibos Lowlands area was overwhelmingly backed by the game's community as well, receiving over 95% approval in the game's polls. And for those that don't know, RuneScape puts major changes and updates to the game up for voting in the game's polling station, so players can directly impact the game's development, which is actually super neat. They're really listening to their players, which is something I think other devs need to keep in mind a bit better. Next up, the Valkyrie officially launched on the console version of Tera, and to celebrate her launch, the game is hosting leveling events until January 29th. Everyone is also getting a free character slot to boot. The Valkyrie update also adds the new Demon's Wheel dungeon, new outfits, and a bunch of other goodies to the game. The Valkyrie, though, isn't exactly new, as it's been out on the PC version for I think almost a year, as it came out in early 2017 as a part of the Honorbound update. It is extremely weird to see the big disconnect between the PC and console version of MMOs. More games need to have their PC and console versions on the same version, or at least a month or so behind at most. More than that just seems a bit ridiculous. Up next, we have a super old MMORPG that just relaunched. Risk Your Life, a fantasy MMORPG from 2004, just relaunched as Return of Warrior and builds itself as a non-targeting MMORPG, which basically means it's a more actiony game, though nothing quite like Tera or Blade and Soul. This one is actually an oldie, and like many other Korean MMORPGs, it has a strong emphasis on PvP. There's been a bunch of private servers for this game over the years, if I remember correctly, but this is currently the only official version of Risk Your Life that's still running. This was actually super popular back in 2005, so if you want to blast from the past, give this one a try. I actually like playing these old MMORPGs, so I'll be doing a first look for this one relatively soon. Next up, Star Trek Online Mirror of Discovery is officially launching on January 23rd for the PC, with a console launch happening sometime later. It's a mini expansion for the game, and as the name implies, it'll feature characters from the current CBS Star Trek Discovery, with players meeting Captain Killy. The update introduces 2 new Discovery-themed episodes, anniversary challenges, new areas, and more. Star Trek Online currently averages about 1,200 or so players on Steam alone, which definitely isn't bad. It's actually Cryptic's second most popular MMORPG after Neverwinter. Up next, yet another free-to-play game is shutting down. Orcs Must Die Unchained, the free-to-play Orcs Must Die tower defense-esque game, is shutting down on April 8th. While most definitely not an MMO, I personally did enjoy playing the Orcs Must Die games quite a bit. The studio behind it, Robot Entertainment, is also shutting down 2 other games. But they're also working on 2 unannounced games as well, so the studio behind the game isn't shutting down. It's just that Orcs Must Die Unchained wasn't making any money for them for some time. But rest in pepperoni, Orcs Must Die. Next and last bit of news this week comes from Talion, a new mobile MMORPG from Gameville, which is launching in English for the first time in Australia before eventually launching worldwide. The game has been available in Korea for some time now and boasts a large, persistent open world, 20 vs 20 large-scale PvP battles, character customization, and more. There's no global release schedule just yet, but with an Australian version launching by the end of the month, I expect the global release isn't too far off, just a few months at most. Anyone will also be able to try the Australian version if they're willing to use an emulator or just download the APK on Android as well. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.